My name's Alicia Bosela, and I'm the owner of Ironweed Native Plant Nursery. Ironweed Nursery is a medium-sized nursery. It's family-owned. We have hundreds of native plants. We try to get local source, so that expends a lot of energy driving around and meeting people and trying to get local source seed. Mainly what we service right now is, since I'm remote, I'll drive all over the state meeting the coolest people ever, master gardeners, individuals who are enthusiastic and contribute to their communities. My job is trying to get the plants out there to homeowners because they can do a lot, and then restoration. So it's everything from restoring riverine habitat with just super great, interesting plants from Kentucky to pollinator gardens at schools, to individuals. Yeah, just all kinds of different fun projects. When I came here, it's kind of like everywhere else I've ever lived. You want to look like the Joneses, you want things to look manicured, but I think what people maybe should realize is that Kentucky is beautiful on its own, and what we have is so much treasure that we really need to build on that, and to just run towards that and to do nothing but build your tourism. The view of the state is a natural treasure as it already is, but just to build on that, and don't be afraid to use that gift of these amazing natural resources to just show off. And I think it can easily be done, and to the benefit of just everything, just have a whole new philosophy of pride in that. So in terms of native plants versus invasive plants, I will say I will be the first to admit that Vitex, butterfly wood, and Bradford pear are gorgeous. They have gorgeous attributes, and visually they fill the bill in all the ways that they're supposed to, and they have all these qualities. But unfortunately, the trade-off of them being so invasive, where they will literally take over like a cancer, displacing everything in their path, that downside is definitely not worth their attributes. We can easily find substitutes that will fit that bill. And again, to me, it's kind of a pride of place, because there's so many things that are gorgeous that we can use from here instead, and learn. Because one of the things that when I first started out and I'd go to all these farmers markets, people would walk up and they'd say, "Oh my gosh, these are the most unusual plants I have ever seen. I've never seen anything like it." And I'd love that, but at the same time it was sad, because I'm like, these are your plants. These are from Kentucky. So there's that. So I want to bring back that love and novelty, or whatever, of native plants, that interest. So let's walk around, and we're going to look at some of my favorite native plants. I'm delighted to show you, as well as some things you may not be familiar with that I'd love to show you too. Some alternatives that maybe you could use in your yard. This is a really interesting tree. It's called the Carolina buckthorn. It's also called Indian cherry because it's edible. You can eat the fruits when they turn from red to dark black. And my husband always jokes I should tell people that it tastes like chicken, but it doesn't. It just tastes like absolutely nothing. So it's not offensive, but it's not, sweet and delicious. But like I said, so this Carolina buckthorn, like I said, the berries go from red for quite a while to that dark purple. It's got these nice glossy leaves. I've had this here. This is probably a 6-year-old tree, and you can see that it's, I don't know, what do you think, 12 feet tall, 10 feet tall, something like that. And I was kind of testing it out to see if it could be a good alternative for a Bradford pear, because it grows very quickly. As you can see, you can train it to a tree. I think it only gets to be roughly 20 feet tall, but a lot of times Bradford pear, the thing it fills, it's got to be compact, the right shape, and have some ornamental value. So you get these beautiful berries, and I guess, I don't know why the variation in fall color, but the fall color down here on these leaves is amazing. It's like a burnt orange, coppery yellow, and it's lovely. It's not shocking, but it's really beautiful. The birds go nuts over these berries, so you get wildlife galore. And one funny story was, the flowers are not conspicuous. But a friend of mine goes, my husband was walking in the woods and he heard this tree before he saw it, and it was this Carolina buckthorn, and it was buzzing so much with the pollinators, they were using that. So it's just, got so many good things about it that, you know, it may not be quite as tall, but it fills the bill in so many other ways. And it's got additional bonuses too. Good full sun here. This is clay, crummy clay soil, harsh conditions, and it's happy as can be. So, love this tree. So another plant that I see that's, you know, listed as highly invasive is autumn olive. So I'd like to give a lot of different substitutes so that serve the same purpose, or roughly the same purpose, and then some. This is one of the several shrubby dogwoods, native dogwoods, and this is roughleaf dogwood, and it will survive in really hot, dry conditions. It's just a tough plant. And as you can see how nice and full and tall this is, it's giving me all kinds of beautiful privacy. I think this is like 5 years old or something like that, and it's grown really nice and tall. I mow around it when it suckers, so there's no problem there. And the value to wildlife is incredible. So you get these white berries that are real pretty for the birds in the fall. Lots of different insects it's a host plant for, so it's just got tremendous wildlife value. Plus, as you can see, if you were a bird, you'd probably love to nest in there, and lots of birds will nest at, you know, kind of intermediate heights. So it really has it all. It's a nice plant if you're looking for quick privacy that's valuable to wildlife. This is the aromatic sumac, and if you crush the foliage, it smells really neat. So if you're working with children or something like that, it's fun to talk about that. It has berries, and it turns crimson red in the fall. So that's really pretty. So if you have a hedge and you could just bush hog or mow next to it, it's wonderful for wildlife. So that's one thing, that aromatic sumac. Another great addition to maybe another alternative to autumn olive, or just another hedge component or edge to a woods component. If you think native plants are boring, they are not. This is Hercules Club, and it looks tropical, and each one of these large things is one leaf. That whole thing is one leaf. It's fabulous. And what you're seeing here, these are flowers that have not yet even opened, and it's going to give you tons of dark purple berries that are a little bit like elderberry, but it's just going to be loaded. It'll be great. It's great for birds. You know, the pollen there too, and it's unusual if you had it on a college campus, you know, and you know, it's just kind of a showstopper. And if it spreads, you can mow around it or keep it in a median or something like that. But it's just fantastically interesting to look at, and it's worth considering, you know, adding, if you have the space, you know, to a hedgerow or a woodlot along the edge. It's just really, really nice. I love this plant. It's just, you know, downy skullcap, and when it comes in bloom all at once, I think it's just clouds of beautiful color. And I have interspersed in here, which you can't see as much, licorice goldenrod, so that bright yellow interspersed with this, you know, purpley blue looks amazing. And I think this could be one that people could really enjoy if they have kind of along a house, or you know, something like that, if they could have in a row and maybe have something shorter in front of it that blooms at a different time. But you know, you see how many bumblebees and everything are just constantly working these plants. It's so fun. This is another plant that I think is kind of underutilized. It's American spikenard. It looks like it's going to get to maybe 4 feet at max, so it looks like a big shrub, but it's actually herbaceous because it dies to the ground each winter. But you can just see these really interesting textural leaves. That's one leaf that's great big. It's ferny, it's pretty, it's rounded, and it went from some beautiful flowers in that you know, mostly terminal clumps, and those are going to be purple berries, which the birds are going to go crazy for. So if you, I can imagine if you had kind of a shady, you know, medium soil median or something to fill, that having that soft texture that would benefit wildlife so much would just be really cool. And all the maintenance would be just trimming it to the ground each year. There you go. This is just white goldenrod, and you see where I cut it back, it's just a little rosette, kind of like, you know, like a mum or something. and this one was blooming a little bit later. And you can see it's just what, I don't know, 1.5 feet tall, and it's just loaded with these, you know, cheerful white flowers that obviously would look great in a vase. And a lot of people are always looking for something that's short, and these are just very tough plants. So the white goldenrod's a really neat, you know, potential yard plant. Well, a lot of times there are so many bird lovers who come and they want stuff for birds, especially seeds at the end of the season. And if you have a backdrop, a back place at the edge of a field, or you know, even just one little round spot kind of somewhere where you can see, this is the tansy rosin weed, and you put this and you can see it's just, you know, green balls everywhere that are going to turn into these bright sunflower-like flowers. And in the evening you'll just see goldfinches galore visiting them. You see they're strong, most of them standing upright, but it's really cheerful and beautiful, and you'll be rewarded with all kinds of birds coming for seeds. And you know, because they're so big, they can really show up if you have them kind of toward the back of your property or an edge or something like that. And they do get bigger or wider, but they just spread by seed if anything. So if you have a field or something like that, this would be a really cheerful thing to put. And it's so airy, so it helps you see the birds. I love it. Hope you all have enjoyed it. And if you're interested in further information, I have a website online, ironweednursery.com. And you know, anyone's welcome to stop by almost any time. There's many beds and things have labels, and with the, you know, identify everything there. So if you just want to come and learn what's what and take it slow, because it can be overwhelming, it gives you a chance to kind of digest what, you know, different native plants would look like in full size. But I definitely encourage you to come down, or, you know, just reading and research and stuff. But if you want to connect with me, feel free to call me or text me. And I love photos of what's this. That's always fun too. So just feel free to reach out, and I'll try to help any way I can. Within the environment and all that's going on, it would be easy to kind of get down about it. But I thought, you know, this is one thing you can do where you're contributing, and then you could help other people contributing, and it's creative, and you can just keep pushing the bar.